If you enjoyed this deep dive into Toyota's groundbreaking tech, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more exciting updates. Yes, you heard that right. Water will go into the petrol tank, and chances are, all those companies including Elon Musk's Tesla, which is now claiming to make the most eco-friendly cars, their business can go down the drain, because Toyota's new engine is also going to be a very eco-friendly combustion engine. Its fuel tank is filled with water, but its exhaust also emits water. And yet, it produces as much power as a petrol or electric engine. So now, the question is, how is Toyota going to burn the water in its engine? Have they found a special quality of water that has been left out of the eyes of all these giant companies? Also, today's engines have a scene with water, like cats have a scene with water. Sometimes, even by mistake, if water goes into an engine or a fuel tank, then its condition becomes like this. The metal completely rots. So, how will Toyota, the enemy of the engine, make water the biggest friend of the engine? And why doesn't Tesla seem like the trendsetter of the EV industry to us today? But the truth is, Toyota had launched the world's first successful hybrid electric car in 1997. And even before Tesla, they had brought EV cars in the limelight. So why, leaving aside the trend of EV, why is Toyota trying to be the trendsetter of this water engine? Do they see something that even Elon Musk's visionary eyes can't see? Well, if you understand Toyota's mindset, then you will get the answers to all these questions. So without further ado, let's understand how Toyota is going to make water the biggest friend of the car industry with its water engine. So, friends, Toyota is a company that doesn't become a part of the hype like other companies. In fact, it sets the trend itself, which is followed by big companies. And that's why their major focus is on innovation, innovation, and only innovation. Because of this innovative approach, in the 1990s, the whole world was not even thinking about EVs. At the same time, Toyota launched the world's first hybrid electric car, Toyota Prius, and set an EV trend in the same car market. In fact, some experts believe that if this car hadn't been so successful in the late 90s, then maybe Tesla wouldn't have gotten that initial push in the early 2000s. Anyway, whatever may be the case, somehow Toyota itself wasn't happy with its success. In fact, America, which is home to big car giants like Tesla, Ford, Chevrolet, and Fiat, there too, an outsider like Toyota is considered to be more reliable today. In fact, this is also the reason why Toyota is one of the 5 off-road cars in America today. Now, when Toyota Prius was launched and it started getting positive and negative feedback all over the world, then they saw some concerning flaws in their hybrid electric engine, and they stopped the production of this EV. But what were those flaws that could not be fixed through minor modifications? Well, actually, there were multiple flaws. In fact, when Toyota studied its EV model Prius in detail, they saw 2 major problems in this model. First, even though EVs are considered eco-friendly, and they emit 0 carbon, but the electricity that comes to the charging stations that charge them comes from burning coal, diesel, and natural gas. That is, technically, whenever electric vehicles are on the road, they are also polluting the environment. And secondly, the batteries used in electric vehicles are mostly made of rare metals like lithium, cobalt, or nickel. And to extract these metals and make just one battery, you have to burn so much fossil fuel that almost 2 ordinary cars can be made in that time. In fact, you may not know this, but an electric vehicle has already released 13,608 kilograms of carbon dioxide gas before reaching the showroom, which can kill 22,000 people every year. That is, all in all, Toyota realized that because of these flaws, the main purpose of electric vehicles is being beaten, and they are just wasting these rare materials for satisfaction. As a result, they took the development of electric vehicles on the back foot and instead started focusing more on improving ordinary cars with combustion engines, starting with choice of fuel. Basically, from the very beginning, Toyota knew very well that which fuel you use more than the engine matters, because how many chemical bonds are there in a fuel? How many of those bonds can break easily and release trapped energy within itself? And how many of those bonds can break incompletely and make carbon pollutants? It is very important to take all these things into consideration. Now, in such a situation, you all science lovers must be knowing that the molecule that can make the most bonds, which molecule, which element is it? Well, carbon, right? That is, you use ethanol, you use kerosene, you use CNG, carbon dioxide will be released in some form or the other on burning them. So, what should we do in such a situation? Well, there can be an idea. What if we use hydrogen H2? Because there are two hydrogen atoms in a hydrogen molecule, and because hydrogen molecules are small, they can be packed very tightly in a fuel tank. That is, let's say you can fill a fuel tank with only 4 petrol molecules with 24 bonds, but almost 100 hydrogen molecules with 1 bond. So, ultimately, you will have the energy of 4 extra bonds. On top of that, due to the fact that the bonds of hydrogen are very strong, when they break, 3 times more energy is released than petrol. And in return, carbon dioxide is also not released. So, all in all, it's a big win-win situation. In fact, Toyota's same hydrogen engine and our detailed explanation video on it, both these things already exist. But as I said in that video, that hydrogen-powered engine also had some problems of its own. Hydrogen is not only a promising fuel, but also a highly inflammable gas. That is, taking it around in your car in a big tank means you are sort of carrying a moving time bomb with you. And if 100 such hydrogen-powered cars get stuck in traffic like Mumbai, then just understand that it is not a traffic, but a ticking atom bomb. And that's why initially Toyota also had to scrap the idea of its hydrogen-powered engine. But eventually they returned to the drawing board once again, but this time with a new mindset. Look, Toyota had come to know that to make eco-friendly cars apart from fossil fuels, if anything else can work, then it is only hydrogen. So what if we try to fix the problems of this hydrogen engine instead of starting from zero? Yes, pure hydrogen is inflammable. But if we put this hydrogen in an impure form in a fuel tank, then it won't be inflammable, right? And this idea gave birth to the concept of a water engine. Thinking means to identify the problem from the root. So, as Toyota understood here, the problem here is not the hydrogen engines, but the inflammable nature of hydrogen. So, if we can fundamentally tweak this nature somehow, then we would be able to get the best out of both worlds. And such creative ideas will usually come to you only from first principles thinking. Otherwise, at the time of problems, our mind is always stressed out and looks for an escape route. And then we drop that idea. So, now let's move ahead in the concept of water engine. So, no matter how clean the water is, if we look at it from the perspective of hydrogen, then technically it has the impurity of oxygen. This impurity will save it from explosiveness. Toyota had finally figured out what to make of it. Except again, there was a small problem. Actually, when they were doing a primary research in this direction, then they saw that there are already many people who have driven cars using water as a fuel. But that car never became mainstream due to politics and impractical designs. Actually, in the 1980s, to avoid rising fuel prices in the US, a small American inventor, Stanley Mayers, designed a car running on water while looking for an alternative option for petrol. According to Mayers, his car was capable of running up to 180 kilometers in just 4 liters of water. But as soon as Mayers put this idea in front of the world, he started getting threats from many oil companies. And in the meantime, in 1998, when he was talking to some investors for his invention in a hotel, then suddenly his throat started drying up. He was seen running out of the hotel quickly, and before anyone could understand anything, he died on the spot. And you know what's even more shocking? A few days after his death, his car and all the designs associated with it also mysteriously disappeared from Mayer's garage. It is said that if those designs were there today, then electric vehicles would never have become mainstream. Because this is almost the same time when the Toyota Prius was launched. So if this water engine car had become mainstream, then the Prius would have been the first and last electric vehicle that would have created a buzz in the mainstream media. Anyway, once this water engine was gone, many other people in the world also tried to make water engines, but they had no luck. Like in 2018, some engineering students from Nagpur, India, literally put water in a Maruti 800 and drove it. They basically mixed calcium carbide pieces and water in the fuel tank of the Maruti 800, and with a chemical reaction, the inflammable acetylene gas that was generated, they drove their— Yep, you heard that right. Toyota is shaking up the industry with their innovative water-cooled hydrogen combustion engine. Let's dive in. First off, let's clear the air. This isn't a water engine in the literal sense. Toyota's genius here is using water to produce hydrogen through onboard electrolysis. Hydrogen is the actual fuel, but it's generated from water inside the vehicle, addressing the flammability issue of storing pure hydrogen. Smart, right? Toyota's always been a trendsetter. Remember the Prius from 1997? It was the world's first successful hybrid electric car, and it set the stage for the EV boom. But Toyota saw the bigger picture. They noticed the environmental impact of producing electricity and batteries for EVs, things like burning coal and mining rare metals, which aren't exactly eco-friendly. Now let's talk hydrogen. It has a high energy density and releases zero carbon emissions. But storing it, that's a challenge. It's highly flammable. That's where Toyota's onboard electrolysis comes in. By generating hydrogen on demand from water, they've sidestepped the safety hazards. Genius. Another cool aspect is their innovative water cooling system. Hydrogen combustion hits temps of about 2,500 degrees Celsius. Toyota's water injection technology helps control these high temperatures, allowing for lighter materials and better efficiency. It's like giving your engine a refreshing drink. And they didn't stop there. The dual injection system optimizes hydrogen combustion for different driving conditions, enhancing performance and efficiency. They've really thought of everything. But wait, there's more. Toyota's already got the Mirai, a hydrogen fuel cell car with a 400-mile range, so they know their stuff. And addressing the past attempts at water engines like the Stanley Mayers debacle, Toyota's tech is fundamentally different and far more practical. Now, about that perpetual motion myth. The energy for electrolysis comes from the car's battery, recharged through regenerative braking and possibly other means. Sure, there's energy loss, but with advancements like the 95% efficient electrolyzer from Australia, the future looks bright. Of course, there are challenges. The hydrogen refueling infrastructure isn't widespread yet, but Toyota's working on it, aiming for collaboration to expand this network. And affordability? That's key. If they can crack that, we're looking at a real game changer. So this water-cooled hydrogen engine is still in the prototype stage. It's not about replacing EVs just yet, but the potential is huge. Toyota's innovation could redefine clean energy in the automotive world.